I was in Batavia, New York, probably 7 years ago now. And I was putting my stuff in that bag right there. And it was up on a stage like this. I think it was just a little bit higher. And I had my back turned and I was putting my stuff away. And 650 kids had just left the auditorium. And I thought I was alone. And I was putting my stuff away and I felt a tap on my shoulder and I spun around. And in front of me was an 8th, 9th grade young lady, as old as some of you. And the first words out of her mouth, my grandma died in 2006. And I said the dumbest thing I've ever said to a young lady. I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My grandma died last year too. I know exactly how you feel. I know, my idiot light went off. Like, she's the 8th, 9th grade young lady. I will never know how she feels. So I checked myself immediately and I was gonna say something, but before I could say anything, she said in 2008, my mom died unexpectedly. Now that one caught me because when you hear unexpectedly from an 8th or a 9th grader, you should pay attention. Her mom was not supposed to pass away. I found out a year later she was 30 years old. Grandma dies in 2006. Her mom dies unexpectedly in 2008. And as I'm looking at her in disbelief, she says, they deported my father back to Portugal. He's never allowed back in this country again. Now my eyes flash to the auditorium doors, and I'm like praying that some teacher's gonna walk in. I have no idea what to say to this young lady. Grandma's gone, mom's gone, dad gets deported, but she wasn't done. She just rips out one more arrow and she lines it up with my heart. And she said in 2011, my 15-year-old brother Logan was murdered. Shot to death in a trailer with another kid, and then the guy turned the gun on himself. And the last thing Alana said to me that day, she said, I can't wait to die so my whole family can be together. What reason does she have to hold on? What possibilities exist in her 8th grade little mind? Especially when she comes to school, people make fun of her weight, people make fun of her clothes, people make fun of what happened to her brother. People say, you should kill yourself. Hey, go kill yourself. I mean, that's what y'all hear these days. Students, educators. I don't understand hopelessness at that level, but I know someone that does. I know someone that understands hopelessness on another level.
All right, students, we just finished button number 1, which is perspective, and I certainly hope that everyone's perspective is a little bit different than when we started this discussion on perspective and this thing called bullying. But honestly, truly, Coach, we're not even here to talk about bullying. And I know that sounds weird because that's why your school had us come in. But we're truly here to talk about this thing called hopelessness. And we know that hopeless people do crazy things. A very wise person once told me that. And I know, Coach, you've dealt with a tremendous amount of hopelessness in your years of teaching.
That same very wise person told me that hope means hold on, possibilities exist. And when someone doesn't believe in possibilities, they're becoming hopeless. So it's that hopelessness that is our contagion, that's our infection, that is the enemy that pushes people to do crazy things, as you said. I think, obvious ones, self-harm and suicide, but it also, people reach stages of anxiety and depression, and it impacts their mental health. It's so important to have an environment where young people are trained to carry hope for others. That's the definition of a sweetheart.
That's right. And what we're going to do is have a good general conversation, discussion in your circle now about this thing called hope. Hold on, possibilities exist. We want to talk about what hope means to you and perhaps what even hopelessness means to you. So be very careful with this one, because as we start to get deeper into this message, it's going to become sometimes a little bit challenging, right? There's some feelings that are shared, so we certainly need a mature, a mindful perspective. But we want to get in those circles now, and we want to talk about some of the way that you felt when you saw this presentation, and especially when you were introduced to this thing called hope.